I'm with the Louisiana Black Alliance for Educational Options. We're part of a national organization that's based out of Washington, D.C. And the focus of our organization is to advocate for high-quality educational options for low-income black children.
What brings you to the Capitol?
You know, obviously education has been all over the news lately throughout the state. And so throughout the session, the legislatures will be voting on various bills that purport to do some reform to education. And so, you know, they'll be discussing teacher tenure, they'll be discussing additional educational options for kids. And so this is what our group fights for. And so parents, you know, they finally have that opportunity, not just in New Orleans or in certain pockets of the state, to see more options brought to their community. As we're gathered here today and the legislature is going through session, we believe that it's critical that our legislature pass policy that empower parents and give parents more options. When we have 44% of the schools in the public schools in this state that are failing our kids, it is critical that we give our parents relief. We have communities in this state and school districts in this state where there is one singular option, and that is the failing school system. And so we believe that on today and throughout this session, we charge our legislators to put kids first in every vote that they take. Whether you support these bills, if we look at what's going on with our kids, it's about putting our kids first, and that's the charge that we give to our legislators on the day. Before they pull the lever on any vote, we ask that they consider if it's in the best interest of children and if it's a situation that they would allow their own kids to be in. And so at this time, I'm going to ask if Ms. Teresa Bowie would come, a parent from Rapides Parish, to kind of tell her own story.
I'm truly honored to be a part of this milestone movement in regard to education in the state of Louisiana. And I stand here not only representing my husband and my 2 children, but the thousands of parents as well as the parents behind me who have had to settle for substandard education or, like myself, transition from public school into private school just to afford our children the opportunity at a quality education. As early as kindergarten, I discovered that my son was enrolled in a school whose grade of accountability and performance was a D-, and I attempted to transition him to a school with a better performance rating, but was unsuccessful. Therefore, at that time, I'm thinking, like many other parents, that our children has a right to education as citizens. However, their right was stolen from me when I had to pay for something that was supposed to be free. Spending annually over $11,000 for 2 children to go to private school has not always been easy, as though I'm considered a middle-class working American citizen. That's not easy when you have to sometimes sacrifice groceries in order to pay your children's tuition. This simply isn't fair to me as a parent who should ensure that I give my children education and expect academic excellence in return. So hopefully today, Governor Jindal will have made a consideration in which I consider a charge to keep for the future of the education for students in the state of Louisiana. Low-income students can and will achieve excellent academically only when given the tools, the resources, and the leadership necessary for achievement. So thank you, Governor Jindal, for taking a stand for our students as well as tomorrow's leaders. On this day, Louisiana parents should feel empowered that our children and the schools will only be excellent, overachievement, and productivity will be the key components of accountability charged by Louisiana schools. And so now I stand here for quality education, and today we declare an education in the state of Louisiana a charge to keep. Thank you.
I stand here to let you know I accept that charge, because as a legislator, that's what I'm supposed to do. This bill for me is not about Governor Jindal. It's not about those legislators behind those doors. It's not about those teachers that are up there, but it's about these parents and these kids. I get pretty emotional when we talk about this, because we talk about tactics to scare someone. And a lot of legislators are falling to that. Even if I'm here by myself, which I am, it doesn't matter, because it's about them. And I'll let you know here today that I stand strong, and Dr. Howard, unapologetic about what I'm doing here today. Because right now, it's about these kids giving a good education. It's about excellence. We've been fighting too long to get access, but now we need excellence. And to have an opportunity to go to whatever school these parents think that these kids need to go to, they need to have that option. It has not been that way because we haven't stood up for these kids. Those teachers' unions are not in control of me. I've been threatened, even by legislators. You know what that does for me? It just makes me stronger knowing this is what I need to do. And I'll let you know today, I'm going to continue to fight for every student, every child in the state of Louisiana to have an option to an excellent education system. Again, I just want you to know I take that charge. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am the chair of the board of the Black Alliance for Educational Options. And I'm here today because we believe that you should not have an America where only people with money have the ability to choose what's best for their children. We believe that our children are our most precious gift from God, and that it is our responsibility, with God's guidance, to love them, to nurture them, to care for them, and to make sure that every single one of them is educated. And so we come here today because we believe that all of our parents who want a better life for their children should have the ability to choose. But we also understand that whether you're in a private school or a public school, you ought to get a great education. So that the bills that they're talking about talk not only about expanding the scholarship program statewide, it talks about multiple authorizers for charter schools so that we can have more charter schools for our parents. But it also talks about accountability in the traditional system, accountability for the superintendent, for principals, for teachers. It talks about the importance of not getting tenure until you become an effective teacher. At the end of the day, when I see my brother from Shreveport in tears because he believes so deeply for these kids, I can only admire the courage that he has to stand up. Yes. Because there are a lot of shaky people who don't have the courage to stand up when it counts. They talk the talk, but they ain't prepared to walk the walk. Amen. And so I'm so happy that we have a brother who understands that at a certain moment in history, you gotta take a stand. Yes, Lord. You cannot be a bowed down, shuffling, shaking, scared Negro in America. And so it warms my heart to see a brother with courage. Because at the end of the day, when you turn off the light, you got to be able to face yourself and your God and know that you did the right thing. Yeah. And all of these scared, trembling, shaking people, when they turn out the light, how do they sleep at night? Knowing that they done betrayed our children and betrayed our history. So this is a moment in time in Louisiana to move forward or to move backward. All of these folks here today are standing here because they believe it's time to move forward. And that it's past time where our kids are getting an education that do not prepare them for the future. Because our children are not only going to have to compete with children from New York and from DC, they're going to have to compete with children from all over the world. And if they don't have a great education, they have no chance. And so what these bills give us an opportunity to do is to create the conditions that we need to make a difference for our children. And I repeat, and I'll say it again, there is no more precious gift from God than our children. And if you can't take a stand for your children, what kind of person are you? And so today, we're taking a stand. We're not apologizing. We're not shuffling. We're not backstepping. We're standing up and saying, put our kids first. Thank you very much.
We had one of our parents, as we were coming up the steps, saying that they better look out because the bees are coming. And so these parents are ready to take action for their kids. And so we'll go ahead and take a few questions, but just be warned that these parents are ready to go talk to legislators and make sure they understand that they got to put their kids first.
As a parent from Rapides Parish, I'm here because I have a concern for education within not only my parish but as well as the state. My child, who is now in the 2nd grade, was enrolled in a school who at the time of kindergarten received a D- according to performance and accountability for the state of Louisiana, in which I tried to transition him to a school with a better performance rating but was unsuccessful, which resulted in me having to enroll him in a private school and sacrificing financially to send him to a private school in order to receive quality education.
What would you like to see happen in this session of the legislature?
It's simple. I'd like to see parents have more choices for their children. Low-income students as well as minority students shouldn't have to settle for substandard schooling or education for their children. So they need to have choices to be able to enroll in either private or parochial schools or a school that is at least standardized according to the state of Louisiana.
I'm a parent from Baton Rouge, and I'm here today standing for school choice. My desire is to have the power to choose the best school for my child's education. And if that's private school, if that's charter school, if that's public school, that is my choice to choose through the options that they give me, the best school that fits my child's education.
What's the current situation now for you and your family?
Right now, I have a daughter in high school. She in public school here at Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She attends Shreveport High School, and that's the school that I picked that will help my daughter further her education and the opportunity to go to college.
I'm here today just to speak out and speak in favor of this initiative that's in the legislature as far as to help students to get to better schools. Right now, we invest in a lot of things. We invest in cars, houses, boats. Well, we need to invest in our children, and I'm here to stand up for that we be able to invest in our children, because they are our future. They're the ones that are going to carry us.
As a parent from Alexandria, I feel that the schools need to be better improved. I mean, I feel as if the students are getting the proper care that they need. My daughter, she is in preschool now, and coming from California, the schools, the system is horrible. It's like as soon as they see the color of your skin, their attitude changes. So I'm here today to see if we can get this bill passed. It's time for a change.
What would you like to see happen?
Times are changing. So when it comes to time changing, electronics in school, we need to see iPads, we need to see computers, we need to see the kids getting out here, and just, come on, let's get them out here, let's get them to seeing things. They need to be here. There should be more students here today. The schools should be here.
I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana, and the reason I'm here is to help enable our area of the state get better schools and have more choices for the local parents there.
What's your assessment of the way things are, and what would you like to see happen?
My assessment right now, for the present in the city of Shreveport, our schools, we have a number of schools that are failing, and we have quite a number of children that are subjected to these schools. Therefore, we have to have some type of alternative to be able to have a better life for those children.
As a parent from Lake Charles, I believe it's time for our kids to get a better education, because the school system is not really doing anything to help them. And the public schools, it seems like they just don't really care about the kids. They figure that they're nothing. They can't be anybody or do anything. So I think it's time for them to take a stand and do something for the kids.
What would you like to see happen?
I would like to see them get a better education and maybe get some better teachers in the system, because some of the teachers, they're just there to get a check. They don't care about the kids, so I think it's about time.
I'm here in support of this legislation supporting education reform, and I'm also a member of BAEO, and I've been active in the education reform movement for 15 years. So I'm here on behalf of the citizens of Shreveport and DeSoto Parish, particularly those parents who only have one option, and that's the public schools, and many of the schools in our community are considered C, D, or F schools, and our parents absolutely need an option that other parents with means, who have the means to send their children to other schools, will also have.
The name of the organization is the Black Alliance for Educational Options, and what we are is a national organization of African Americans who support the idea that parents ought to have the right to choose, but that we ought to also want to make sure that they have excellent options from which to choose.
What's your assessment of what's happening here in the Louisiana legislature?
Well, first of all, I think this is a really critical battle that's going on, and it is about giving parents options, but it's also saying that we understand that you want to have kids in great schools, whether they're public schools or private schools, so that the kinds of issues that we're facing here is not only expanding the scholarship program statewide, but also beginning to deal with issues that would make the traditional system better. So it is a very comprehensive reform effort, and we're fully supportive of this effort.
What do you feel needs to be done in order to make sure that every student in Louisiana has a good quality public education?
Well, we believe the first thing is to make sure that parents have choices, so that you have this power of parents to be able to determine what is best for their children. We think that some of the issues that are in the bills that deal with accountability, for example, holding superintendents accountable, holding principals accountable, the whole way that you're going to now deal with tenure, so that a teacher would have to be effective for 5 years in order to get tenure. This idea that you're not going to use seniority as like a basis for teacher placement, so that we won't run into the situation where just because you're the last in, you're the first out, even though you may be the more effective teacher. We think that all of these kind of issues, coupled with the efforts around early childhood, all of those things are important to get to the point where every child in Louisiana has a chance to have a quality education.
I think a lot of distractors have felt like, parents don't really want this, or, people have made statements that parents aren't engaged to make decisions about what's best for their kids' education. And I think we proved today that there are a number of parents throughout the state of all income levels, low income, middle income, that are extremely frustrated with what's going on in their communities. And so they're here today and they want answers from their legislators as to why they won't take immediate action to resolve the problems that are going on with their kids.
If people have questions or like more information about your organization, what should they do?
They can visit our website at www.labaeo.org. They can also follow us on Twitter, LABAEO, or they can like us on Facebook at LABAEO. We believe it's important that people have information, and these issues and challenges that we have with education in Louisiana, admittedly, they're extremely challenging and they're extremely convoluted, but we can't stand by that as an excuse not to take action and not to do something for our kids.